Well, joining us now is the Mayor of Brampton in Ontario, Patrick Brown. Mayor Brown, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Now, you will be speaking at the summit tomorrow. I'm wondering what your message is going to be for those who are attending.
So we've seen auto theft skyrocket across the GTA over the last number of years, and we've been pleading for help. So I'm very encouraged that the Government of Canada is hosting this summit. It's a sign that they're listening to our concerns. My message is this is out of control, and according to our police, it is now the third largest revenue source for organized crime in Canada, only behind guns and drugs. Auto thefts is now big business for organized crime, and there are two ways to shut it down that will have the greatest impact. The number one is dealing with the Port of Montreal. 80% of our stolen vehicles are going to the export market and primarily through the Port of Montreal. If we have proper screening in the Port of Montreal, we can stop this income source for organized crime in Canada. The second aspect is, we need to have real sentences. We see some of the low-level criminals involved in this spending one night in jail. And frankly, some of the gangs, if they even spent a night in jail, will pay them a bonus. This needs to be reined in. There has to be real consequences for auto theft. That's going to be my message at the Auto Theft Summit. It is time to deal with this square on.
Yeah, time to deal with it, as you say. And you're noting here just how big of an industry this has become for crime. But in terms of just how violent auto thefts have become in your community, can you share some of the stories that you're hearing?
Well, we've seen auto thefts that are heinous. You see people knocking down doors of homes to get the car keys. You see violent carjackings. These are expensive. It's expensive property, and so people are going to great lengths to go and steal that $100,000 vehicle. They may be paying some low-level criminal $2,000 to commit the crime, and then they're reselling it for a much greater amount. And so this has become a very lucrative industry, and it's meant that people are going to some pretty heinous lengths to steal these vehicles. It's horrifying to see.
You laid out the Port of Montreal as well as the criminal code in terms of having to deal with these crimes. Is that the litmus test for you? Is that what will signal for you whether or not this summit is successful if you come out with some type of resolution that's going to happen soon?
Yeah, I want to see a plan for the export market. That is what is driving this industry. And so my hope is we're going to get a commitment from the public safety minister that there'll be a plan in place. Right now, local police don't have the jurisdiction. It's CBSA, whether it's at an intermodal hub or at the port, and we need to have a plan. Tracking devices show us where these stolen cars are going, and so this has to be addressed. If this is not addressed, if Canada continues to be the easiest country to get stolen cars exported from, then this summit will be a failure. But I'm optimistic that we have the ear of the public safety minister and that we are going to see a plan for this. I've already spoken to Dominic LeBlanc, and I am very encouraged that he is taking this as seriously as he is.
Now, we'll be covering the Auto Theft Summit wall-to-wall tomorrow here on CPAC. But, outside of that, I do also want to talk to you about a separate issue altogether. I know Peel Police in your area gave an update on alleged cases of attempted extortion. Now, this has mainly affected the South Asian community in your city. You have been asking for more help from the federal government. Can you talk to us about just how big of a problem this is?
Mm-hmm. So a number of mayors across Canada have been talking to each other about the extortions we're seeing. It's across the Lower Mainland of British Columbia. We saw some pretty ugly incidents in Edmonton, and we've made a plea, given the interjurisdictional nature of these extortion attempts, that we needed the full cooperation of the Government of Canada. And I have to say, we have that cooperation. There's a high level of cooperation with the RCMP, CSIS, and local law enforcement agencies, and we're grateful for that. It is leading to effective investigations. And the announcement today that we had 5 arrests for people behind some of the extortion attempts is very encouraging. I would note that 50 cell phones were recovered and computer devices. And so this is going to really help unravel the broader extortion scheme that we're seeing. And so today was good news because we are making a breakthrough, and hopefully the victims can have a sigh of relief that there are consequences for people that commit heinous crimes like this.
Mm-hmm. And to spell it out for people that are not so aware of what's happening here, when we talk about extortion, they're asking for money under the threat of violence, and sometimes horrible violence, including gunfire sometimes.
Yeah, we've got incidents where after the extortionate threat is made, you'll see a person's personal residence shot up with gunfire, their business residence shot up, there's been acts of arson. And so the South Asian community where this is happening has been terrorized. I couldn't imagine how terrifying it would be to have your family home shot up when you have children inside that home. And so I've had residents in tears calling me saying, how is Canada responding to this? And so the fact that our local police were the first police to make a breakthrough is great news. This is something that I know Chief Nish, the chief of the Peel Police, was taking very seriously. We have to let Canadians know that this will never be tolerated.
Patrick Brown, always appreciate the time. Thank you for joining us this evening.
My pleasure. Thank you.